article. It's getting kind of repetitive. And I'm going to do dot parse, which is another command that I just got by looking at the documentation. And then I can start printing information. So first, I'm going to print current article dot title. Then I'm going to print current article dot authors. So just getting interesting information from each of the websites that I pulled from. Then I'm going to print current article dot text. So this will pull all the text from the article. And then in this except, I can just say something like print it didn't work, sad face. Okay, and I'm going to run this. And we're gonna pause for a second to let people kind of figure it out and catch up. Once you get to the point where you have the article printed, the URL printed out, and then the title of my article printed out, and then my authors, and then the text, then you should, I've done a lot of food questions. What's a non-food question?
What day of the week is it?
What day of the week is it, says Emilio. So type what day of the week it is when you've gotten to this point. I thought it was Friday all day, so it's okay. All right, I haven't received any messages yet. It's Thursday, by the way, I think. Yes, it is. I see Gianna like smirking. She doesn't know what day of the week it is. All right. If you're not at this point, why don't you, could somebody unmute and share with the group maybe what you're stuck with? So maybe if somebody else, usually people have the same problem, so you can share and maybe somebody else can benefit from the answer. Unless you're just like so confused, you're not sure what to ask. Okay, Matt, sounds good. All right. Are we good to move on? Or should we wait?
Let's say wait another 10 seconds.
All right, we'll wait 30 more seconds.
Definitely common issues. Make sure that you're kind of doing everything exactly as it appears on Claire's screen. And if you're having real troubles, I have a nice little completed version. And just email me, or if you have my number, text me, and I'll just send that along to you. And I think that will help clear up some issues.
Yeah, and if like during this you're like very frustrated and a lot of things aren't working, don't worry. We have like the complete version. You can just paste in the spots where you were getting errors. Most of the time it's stuff like you typed something wrong, you forgot like a colon here, or you didn't tab correctly. And like even after years of coding, I still do the same thing, and I'm very sad for many hours when something breaks and I have no idea why. But it's usually something very simple.
And it's our intention eventually to have some kind of recording of this eventually, so that it's nice and easy to follow along with after the fact. So just keep that in mind. Don't get too worried if you get behind. You can definitely get caught up.
Yep. All right. So if you've gotten to this point, hopefully, then a question would be, looking back at the documentation, which is I have pulled up, can somebody tell me, looking at this, how I would get the published date of the article? How about Joseph?
Okay, so if you look at the third box where it says article.parse, one of the things you can do is say article.publishDate, and it'll give you a datetime object of some sort. And it says, and in this example, it's the year 2013, probably December 30th. I don't know what the 2 zeros to the right mean, but that's how you get the published date, I think.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Okay.
So just like earlier, we were accessing the authors by doing article.articles, authors, or whatever our article was called, or we did article.text to get the text. And then just like that, we can just look at how they tell us to do it and how to use their code, and we can get the publish date. So if you want to actually include that so that it outputs, just add a new time. So hit return, type print, type current article dot publish underscore date, which is exactly what they told us to do. And I can run it. Woo. And now it'll also, at the end of the text, it'll include, sometimes if it doesn't work for a certain article, we'll get this, it doesn't work, and that's okay. We should get this date time. So I guess the zeros were just referring to like the time. In this case, it was just, I don't know, probably 12 a.m. or something. This is a lot of information, which is like very cool. So for future reference, if you were doing a project, we thought this would be useful, especially to do it with the library resources. We thought to just like, you could search for something and then pull everything out of it, and you could do some fancy processing. Or you could do it like in this case, if you wanted to get information about a current event, like for international relations or something, or public policy research, then you could also use the script for that. So just so that I don't get confused with everything, I'm actually going to remove the text portion, because that's like pretty long to print out the text. So now I just am printing out the article link, the title, the authors, and the publish date. So next, I want to do, this is the really fun natural language processing. So this is all about using machine learning and other tools in order to have computers read English like humans do as close as possible. So what we're going to do is type in current underscore article dot NLP, open parentheses, close parentheses, because we don't have any parameters to pass, return. I'm going to say current underscore keywords equals, and I'm going to say current underscore article dot keywords. This just means that we're going to store the keywords that we extract from this article into an object that we can use later called keywords. I'm going to hit return, and I'm going to print the keywords just because I like to see what I'm looking at. So I'll copy paste that in between the parentheses. And then I want to add it to this all keywords. So what I want to look at the end is all of the keywords that all of the sources are looking at. So I'm going to put it into a list that'll span beyond just this individual, each individual element in my for loop, and I'll be able to have it for all articles. So the way I do that is I copy this all keywords, I type dot extend, which is just to add a list to a list. And I'm going to paste in current keywords. So just to see that this is working, I can hit the run button. And it'll take a little bit longer than the other ones because it takes a little bit longer to process. But here are the keywords for our first article. So this is LeBron's views on police. And this one is, we see some of the keywords are James, LeBron's, matter, twisted, Brianna, shot, killed, which makes sense given the topic that we're looking at. And I can do this for all of them, and then in the end I have all of these words stored in my keywords, which is going to be really cool because now we're going to make a graph. So this part I've actually already done for you. So all you have to do, if you have this part working, and if you don't panic, is just run the code, and you'll be able to generate a CSV file, which is just it's a comma separated values file that allows you to put some stuff in one column in Excel and other stuff in other columns. So like if I have a line that has a comma in between, then the stuff before the comma goes into one column, the stuff after goes into the other. So really just pretty basic what I'm doing. So make sure always, a lot of times errors people have is because they don't remember to run the code block. So I'm going to remember to run the code block. What this is basically this dictionary of keywords count. So I counted up for all of the articles, all of the keywords I extracted. I pulled out how many times they appear with just these two lines. So for example, the word matter, in all the articles in terms of keywords, it appears 18 times. This hearts appears 2 times. Protest appears 4 times. So this is a cool library. It's just called the counter library. We imported at the beginning, and it allows us to very quickly just count up words that we give it as a list. So we gave it a list of all the keywords, which was super long, and then we just counted them all up so we could visualize it nicely here. But we can actually visualize it in a nice little histogram. And the way we do this is we'll run this code block here, and we can come over to the data section and click refresh directory contents, and I'll see that I have this new CSV file. Just like before, if you come over to the right side to the 3 little dots and you click on download, then you'll be able to download it. And I'm going to show in Finder so I can open it with Excel and not Mac's annoying built-in one. And I'm going to say open with Excel. And I see all of my data now stored really nicely. So I have my counts as matter appears 18 times, twisted appears 2 times, lives appears 14 times, and so on. So in order to visualize this, I can just go over to insert. Yours might be different depending on your version of Excel. I can type in, I can go over to recommended charts, and here is my table. So just using Python code, I was able to get all of the keywords about Black Lives Matter. Now there's stuff like we see each of them is labeled. Now these are like a lot of keywords, and you'll notice a lot of these words are only on here because they appeared at least 2 times, which we can see over here. So we can actually use Python again to only get words that appear more than 2 times, for example. So these are the ones that are like very important. So they're not just like keywords that appear twice, they're appearing more than that. All we have to do for that is just scroll down. So we made our Excel plot. We can just come down here. If we make an if statement that says we want the keyword to appear more than 3 times, then we can output it to a CSV file and make another plot. So I'm going to type if, and I'm going to do this dictionary of keywords. If the key that I'm looking at appears more than 3 times, let's say, tab this in, then we'll write that number to a file. So we'll only include it in our CSV file if it appears more than 3 times. So I'll make sure to run it, and then I can refresh this page, and I can click download. Over here, I can again say show in Finder. I can open it with Excel. And this time you'll notice I have a lot less data, but it's more of the important keywords. I can again just go to insert, go to recommended charts, click this one, and here are all of my keywords extracted from those original sources that we looked at on the original page. And then you can just edit it like a normal Excel things, which I think most people are more familiar with, maybe more than Python. And so I could say Black Lives Matter keywords 9/24/2020. And then I'm able to kind of look at this, and maybe I could include this plot like in my research or something similar on like data that you're collecting, and it's really nice. People can visualize this data. And now what's nice is once we have this script written, we can go back to the top if we wanted and change this, too far. We can change the original URL that we pasted into any URL for any topic, and we can just hit run on the entire file, which is just run all, and then we can generate plots for any topic we want really efficiently. All right, that's all I have for you. I'm gonna go back to that last if statement in case anybody needs to copy it. So that's just all I added was if dictionary _of _keyword _counts, open bracket key, close bracket key is greater than 3, : tab this in, run it.